What is up, everybody? This is Silver Spook, and this is the Silver Spook video on leaving AI to the robots, Mega Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and joining fictional good bots fighting real nasty humans. Hashtag no AI, hashtag no AI art. Before I forget, speaking of fictional robots, Neofeud is another video game with fictional robot main characters, which is also made by humans and not Gen AI plagiarism software and rip-off artist machinery. So please help us out here and grab Neofeud on Steam or also on itch.io in the Steam Winter Sale or the Itch Winter Sale. In addition, of course, the Neofeud 2 soundtrack is also out on the Bandcamp and also on Ko-Fi. So yeah, don't forget to check that out as well. Obviously, I am a artist as well as a writer, programmer, musician, and I also do voice acting. So, I make lots of fictional robots. That's one thing I like. There's at least four or more fictional robots, all separate ones, all human animated, real human animated, with digital pen, real human animated fictional robots trying to do good, fighting real world bad humans using broken software, malfunctioning, wasted computer chips that's sometimes described as AI. So anyway, just want to point that out. So help us out here, keep doing this work, and join the fight. Join the fight of, Mega Man, Nostromo, Proto J. In Neofeud, we have various robots trying their best to fight against the forces of money grubbing, extractive people and systems. We got Proto J. We got some of the robots are trying, but they're blue screening out of their own minds, like Mr. Gibson there on the sidewalk. We've got really big robots with plasma cannons. Actually, fun fact, you might not notice, but just speaking on Mega Man, I'm just gonna play this trailer since I'm already here. The main character, one of the main characters in Neofeud, Proto J, so I can get his a little screenshot of him. Proto J, he's that robot kid with the blue face. He was partially inspired. Obviously, kind of, it's a little bit of a homage to John Connor, but his arm and his body was kind of partially, I wanted to kind of like allude to Mega Man X, because I do actually, I've played a lot of those Mega Man games. I played all the Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System games. I played the Mega Man X, X2, X3 on the Super Nintendo. So those are really let me see if I can find a good picture of that, of the art itself. And I remember when I was working on him, I was like, I kind of wanted to Neofeud is a very meta game, of course, deals with a lot of complicated topics. But in the same way that, I talk about how Guillermo del Toro referenced the Matrix in the Frankenstein's creatures sliding out of the cage down a water chute It's kind of like escaping the Matrix in his clothing, the water chute itself landing into a body of water and all of that, right? And so like with Neofeud, there's definitely like this character of Protege on the actually the Nostromo on the left is the new fictional main character robot. I have a lot of main character robots. Neofeud 1 and 2 both have protagonist synthetic non-carbon based life forms, as their main character. And so but yeah, just something that people might not notice. I mean, a lot of people have played Neofeud, of course. Thanks to everybody who has played it. Neofeud has been done better than over 80% of all games on Steam. I know that because most games don't sell over like a few $1,000s worth or even a few $100s worth. So thanks to everybody who has picked it up. But something that people might not know about it is that let's see if I can find that. This is one of the animations I made for him. But actually, like, so my Protege's and each one of these animations, I should also say, like, it does take a lot of time to make these animations using real human hands. This is the actual now I'm gonna throw the pencil at the screen. I'm gonna do the Miyazaki anti-AI plagiarism software, anti-stochastic parrot, anti-spicy autocomplete meme at you, okay? Pick up pencil. This is literally the digital writing tool I used to paint basically everything in Neofeud 1 and 2. Another thing, that the tablet I got, it cost. Some people say, oh, it costs so much money to create art. I mean, whether that's MegaMan or that's Neofeud or that's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoons or 3D. The thing is, like, that I was thinking about it like that. A lot of the computers I was using, I basically got either for free or it was very cheap because they're like basically hand-me-downs. Like there's work computers that like didn't need anymore. The tablet, the pen itself, your pencils are basically just like a few cents. People, you can write with charcoal. You can write with. People have been drawing on walls for thousands, if not tens of thousands, for years in the insides of caves across the earth. So there's no excuse. And also, with this tablet, I think it actually costs maybe $40-$50 or less. You can get one. You can get, like, I could use any tablet. It just needs something that I can contact. Just something to contact the tip of a nib of a plastic device to a pad that translates onto the screen. You don't really need anything fancy, really. I mean, some people use more fancy tools, but actually having fancier tools can hamper your creativity. It can actually hamper your productivity, actually. If you really know what you're doing and you know exactly what you're going to do with the tool, sometimes they can speed things up. There's some things that speed things up, but I actually find that I get lost in all the effects. It's like being the kid in the candy store, and or it's like having every single color possibly to use to paint can actually be overwhelming. You can get less work done, or you can get poor quality work done. Anyway, so I just want to say, like, so just in terms of like actually producing art, like, I spent $40 or $50 on the actual, like, the digital drawing art tools over the course of like 16 years. Okay, so that's it was $50, right? 16 into $50, right? It's like what, $3 a year? Like, how much do people spend on AI tokens? How much electricity, water, power is wasted on this giant torment nexus that is generative AI, right? It's burning the planet and destroying all of this human civilization. And Vince Gilligan and Pluribus is just trying to barely critique it, and it's just starting to scratch the surface of how bad it is. Anyway, so I think that, like, the cost is negligible. So if people want to bring that up. So and yes, this is gonna be I'm gonna go hard on this today. And And we're also going to talk about. I want to just kind of bring that up about Mega Man. It's Mega Man, the character himself, and like how he was actually important because what like Terminator obviously is also a reference point. John Connor, there's the there's been a lot of robots. There's the Chappie. Chappie was another important. If you've ever seen Chappie, I recommend everybody watch this Chappie. Chappie is also similar to some of the robots in the sense that he's like a gangster. He's a gangster robot who is not given. He's produced by very creative, very intelligent, very skilled engineers. I think the creator designer of Chappie, this conscious sapient robot in this movie Chappie, is played by Dev Patel, but is like raised by he ends up being raised in the South African the mean streets of D'Antwoord's Ninja and Yolandi Visser's underground, surrounded by guns, drug running, heists, and heist is a crime. And I remember Chappie was another a touch point, but that's another robot, right? That's like animated and created and produced by humans, right? Humans had to 3D design, concept design, 3D produce. Neil Blomkamp really likes making real world like engines and like metal, like fully having the real weight of the metal, the parts, the moving parts, mechanical design, which is like that's a specific process that's part of his Neil Blomkamp and his team's entertainment, movie, art, robotic design. So that's like another example of like fictional, again, like fictional robots, right? Fighting real nasty humans, or sense that or not necessarily the fictional robots. I'm talking about that, but the teams of people, humans that are designing all these fictional creations, are in a struggle for their existence, right? I mean, all of it's really like we've talked about a lot on this various videos. It's really a battle for the soul of humanity itself. It's a struggle for civilization, human existence. It could be the solution to the Fermi paradox, right? Everyone like outsourced, the entire human species outsources, or maybe any sapient species eventually outsources all of its knowledge, all of its skills, all of its personality to pattern recognition and pattern mimicry machines, and then they lose all their skills and slowly degenerate. They AI degenerate themselves into unconscious slug things. Maybe that's it. They're like the end of like the people at the beginning of WALL-E in the floating chairs. I just saw a post about that. Actually, it was I was sharing that on Mastodon, that the post about somebody saying, 1 second here. Ooh. Somebody saying basically, why is Wikipedia still a thing? Doesn't ChatGPT just render it completely irrelevant? And somebody said, you're the people in the floaty chairs at the start of WALL-E, which is true. Like we are at the start of WALL-E, right? And then, but there might not be a happy ending at the end of the real world WALL-E, right? And I said, why are humans still a thing? Doesn't electrical activity in computer chips render life completely irrelevant? Right? I mean, like, we have computer chips that are, right? Because you're saying we don't need Wikipedia. I'm not saying Wikipedia is the best thing ever, but like the humans that are involved in producing, editing, modifying articles on Wikipedia, right? Whether that's about apples, oranges, George Washington, what is MegaMan, right? So, for good or for better or for worse, humans did edit and work on Wikipedia for years, many of them, along with many other sites, right? And other places you can get information on the internet. And so, um, if humans produced Wikipedia, and if you can just you can talk to ChatGPT, and why would you need Wikipedia, right? But then you see it gives away the game. If ChatGPT doesn't exist with all the human output, right? That ChatGPT it relies on training itself on all the or training is even a slightly humanizing word. ChatGPT is is locating patterns, right? It is doing stochastic, right, probabilistic analysis of data, of tokens, based upon millions, billions of humans output, right? And so if the humans don't have output, there is no intelligence. It doesn't create anything new. It's an important thing that even the people who specialize in large language models, computer scientists, will tell you that it doesn't create new things, right? It just locates existing patterns and then produces material based on that. And then the sense of getting something new is basically always, because there are billions of humans and there's just huge amounts of output that humans have output, right? Like the probability that you haven't, right? Newness is a function of what you have encountered, you singular human, right? Me, Silver Spook, YouTube viewer number 1 or 3, Jane Doe, or MegaMan artist entrant number 364. There's actually art contest for MegaMan's boss character designs. So feel free to pick up a pencil, and that's what this is for. Pick up a pencil, produce some art for that. But the actual newness of something, right? Creating something, whether something is new or not, or which is also part of like creation, right? Which is what people think of art, right? This is where you have to really sort through the weeds of this. That's part of what this stream is about, because I make games about robots and artificial intelligence in like a historical sense, not in the modern Gen AI sense, and a more and more like universal sense. So I want to disambiguate, like, I'm not, just because it's robots, I think people probably already get that, but it's, it's like, it's interesting. And the thing, there is actual artificial intelligence in the world, or like expert systems, or there's like software, just because it part of the nasty humans, and billionaires in particular, and global capitalists and oligarchic elite that are using this computer hardware and software in a negative way, right? The strategy is to keep everything unclear, keep people ignorant or misunderstanding everything. That's how their game, speaking of video games, their gaming the world system for their own personal benefit, to the detriment of everyone and everything else, is about keeping everything unclear. But what are we talking about, right? And so newness is a function of the person who is experiencing the content, the text in ChatGPT, right? The paragraph, the visual image or video or sound in the sense of Spotify or music, right? The newness, like, everything is new at some point, right? Everything is a new creation and invention, or in the sense that, like, you have never experienced it before, right? Like the first time you see Star Wars, right? Star Wars was created at one point, right, in the late 70s. So then it was created and it was new then. But to each person that sees Star Wars, right? So if I was 3, I remember when I saw Star Wars, I went to the Silver Dragon restaurant after, and my dad told me, if you eat all that miso soup, you will be, because I was like, I don't know if I want to eat that interesting bean curd based soup. I wasn't super into it. He's like, if you eat all that miso soup, that's Jedi soup, and you will become a Jedi. The Force will be with you. So I ate it all, right? And I have a specific, so it was new to me, right? Star Wars is new to me in like there was Return of the Jedi. I think I saw it in the theaters, in 1986, mid 80s, when I was 3, and I remember that experience. Right, and it was a very impactful experience in my life. I remember playing MegaMan. I remember like specifically, it was new to me because I got sick, and this was in a time when people acknowledged that it was normal for people to get sick once, twice, or maybe 3 times a year. Not sick all day long, every day. Pro tip: watch the last stream we did, mask up, and prevent illness. Minimize your risk. I see everybody. Every single YouTuber I've watched in the last few videos has been like coughing and sneezing. Their nose is full of something like it's for your own sake, So just want to say. So anyway, but so just a quick health PSA. I see that even California, New York, lots of states and governments are putting out these recommendations, even on masking, which they have been wont to do. Anyway, so PSA aside, when I was 4 or 5, I can't remember exact age, but I beat Mega Man 3 because I was sick. I remember like playing through the entire game, beat Shadow Man and Top Man, and make sure I can get that one. It was Mega Man 3 or Mega Man 2. They were both hard. I remember that. But I remember playing all the way through them when I was that age. And it was like a very, I was just playing it on my Twitch stream the other day. And actually, let me check the chat real fast. Hard Man, Shadow Man, Top Man. Each one of these characters, they all have their own, like, very specific, they have their own designs. Like some artist, had to, sit down, think about like what would be. I remember thinking to myself, what would be an interesting Mega Man, antagonist design, like Iceman. I don't know, already existed, right? I was like, what if you had like, I remember like drawing them out. Like, what if you had like Soda Can Man, or like you had like Leaf Man. I think there's Wood Man in number 2. You could have like Cloth Man. Eventually they ran out of man, and so Mega Man X, they started having animals like Armored Armadillo, and what's it, like Sprint Ostrich, or like Speed Ostrich, Flame Mammoth. But it was like, like coming up with all those designs is part of the artistic process. You'd be like, what's the element that sounds interesting, that could be interesting? What would they look like, right? What would they look like? Hard Man has like a hard helmet. A Gemini Man, he's got all these crystals on him because he's like very reflective, right? And he splits himself into 2, right? Because Gemini is of course the twins, right? In was a Greek mythology, in the astral, in your astrological sign. So Magnet Man has a magnet on his head. I remember like thinking to myself, when I was playing the game, I was like, so this is the first time I experienced all of this. Right, and Mega Man, of course, he's got his little blue head. Mega Man X had a different design. He was like, now he's a cool teenager, he's all grown up, and he makes more grimacy faces now. And yeah, he has a little more pixels, so he can have cool shoes now. He can have cool Reebok high tops. Mega Man X. What is up? What is up? Street Cat Love. Thanks for coming by. Sorry, I'm just gonna try to close some of this up. Yeah, so like Mega Man X, he had like bigger like Reebok high tops, Michael Jordan pumps. He could probably dunk on the basket. That's actually in Neofeud 1. You might recall there's actually one thing was when I was designing project, I was thinking about like how Mega Man looked cooler. He suddenly got all these upgrades, and his facial expressions kind of changed. Like how the gaming sensibilities, Mortal Kombat had come out. I think Nintendo and Capcom, they weren't quite ready for that. Like people having their heads ripped off with their spine coming out, and like they weren't quite at the level of Melina and Doom Demons, but like they were like the Mega Man X is more like a teenager, and Mega Man is more like he's like a 12-year-old. Maybe I guess technically he's a 0-year-old when he's produced by Dr. Light, to fight Dr. Wily. That's the guy who is being asked to pick up the pencil, as an evil powerful old man trying to use use robots to make tons of money and control the world, right? Just like Sam Altman and Peter Thiel and Alex Karp and all the billionaire, big tech neo-feudal techno king overlord wannabes, and the global imperial emperors using AI, right, to fight wars and replace all humans with malfunctioning, buggy software, just like in Terminus Machina, a game I made. But Mega Man. Yeah, so X has like he's got like these like so somebody had to like redesign him. Artists had to like redesign this character for the new game set, and so that's another place where like my partner and I started prison yesterday. Well, good for you, Street Cat. I'm just replying to the chat. Do check out The Prisoner as well. I'm about 2/3 through it. 1960s sci-fi dystopian show. Anyways, so Mega Man, he's got these like big shoes, and that was another. In Neofeud, there's this like definitely X is like partially it's like I was like I wanted to like what if like you had like a wannabe John Connor, like wannabe, or like John Connor is also like this like kid, right, who is like tossed. He's got foster parents. His mom is in the mental health facility for being declared insane, et cetera, and is being mistreated in there. Sarah Connor, because she thinks that robots from the future are going to come and destroy the human race by starting nuclear war on Judgment Day, using these cyberdyne systems, right? Terminator 2 Judgment Day, T2D just came out as well, another video game with fictional robots. Well, there's one good one, at least I think. The Arnold Schwarzenegger's reprogrammed T-800 that fights for John Connor. So obviously, like, thinking about robots has been a lot of my life, and I definitely when it comes to Neofeud. I was like, what if you had like a Mega Man like character, like because Protege is not huge, right? He's not like a T-800. Like in Terminator 2D, it's a very big, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. I mean, he's actually Arnold Schwarzenegger, contrary to his official IMDb bio, and he's not actually over 6 feet. I think he's like 5 something. So he looks a lot bigger on camera, because you can do a lot of things with scale when you're in cinema, right? But he's not a small guy, obviously. He is a big guy, but the Terminator. My point is that this is another game that just recently came out called Terminator 3. I cannot afford $30. I apologize to the team. I know they put a lot of love into this game, but I don't have $30 at the moment to pay for 1 hour of 1 hour long game. Okay, there's a little bit of replayability, but still. I gotta wait till it goes on a bit more sale, but like the Terminator in T2D and also in the Terminator movies is obviously like a big guy, and so I wanted somebody who's like a kid, kind of like John Connor, but like a delinquent, with a similar kind of attitude, chip on his shoulder, and obviously like Chappie is another reference point. But I was like what? But like with the robots in Neofeud also are like discarded from their parent corporations into this endless slum, this dilapidated earth that they live on, or that they exist on, because of the economic, social, and political inequities in the world of Neofeud. And so there's just like this endless wasteland of poverty and malaise and environmental destruction. And just people just barely struggling to exist, right? And they're all being controlled from these extremely wealthy people in floating palaces. And actually, ironically, like in the Silver Spook Continuum, in this previous game, Terminus Machina, which I know I bring up a lot, and it actually becomes relevant here. In the world of Terminus Machina, the ultra rich use broken mouth, literally, right? That's actually the summary of this game. A homeless socialist activist jailbreaking iPhone 9 factory worker slaves while dodging drone strikes from AI automated military systems. Right, as bread lines running out of bread are responded to with massive military machine exterminations of all the human population. So it's like it's kind of like a combination of a lot of these things, but it's like what I think the future could hold if it continues in the current direction. Right. Buggy paramilitary drones blowing up schools, incompetent elite wrecking the planet with endless financial crises. Mass unemployment as robots shove workers out of offices into endless bread lines running out of bread in bankrupt states is like the basic like premise. And so like, and Terminus Machina leads into the Neofeud world by because mass human resistance fails, right? Because again, we're talking about joining the fight of fictional robots, but also the humans that are producing, the human artists producing these fictional robots on the side of humanity, right? So it's not as last time I was talking about how it's not so simple as collectives being good and individuality being bad, or individuality being good and collectivity being bad. But it's like there's positive and negative collectivity, and there's positive and negative individuality, or good and toxic individuality, right? And so similarly, robots are not just good or robots are not just bad. And like artificial intelligence, and like again being very specific, systems that digital systems that guide the behavior of machines are not all bad. Like for example, right, a thermostat is technically a form of artificial intelligence, arguably, because it responds. There's all these various definitions. I used to teach robotics. So I remember this was part of my class I used to teach. I do have a computer science degree, and I was like going to go into cognitive computing, brain computer interfaces, and that kind of stuff. But I decided not to because of look at Silicon Valley. Okay, look at everyone that's ruining the world. Everyone at restaurant at Mar-a-Lago Resort. Okay, they have something in common. Anyways, so and it was obvious to me in 2008 that was where things were going. So anyways, so like because my point in Terminus Machina, which I had a problem with some other science fiction like Deus Ex and Terminator, right? Which is that like Terminator and even Blade Runner, Deus Ex the video game, a lot of the science fiction about robots is either like robots and AI are good or misunderstood, and they're actually good, but they're interpreted as bad, like like iRobot, or in Terminator it's like, oh my gosh, the machines is just they become alive and then they just kill everyone off. They just determine humanity has to die. Right. I think it's loosely based on I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Right. And it's like something it's like something is never quite fully examined and explained. It's just kind of like it's a little bit like that in the Matrix too. Like machines just want to kill everyone. At least the first one, right? And they're the machine overlords, and that's it. And it makes for good like good guy, bad guy storytelling. It makes for good like, if you want to have a lot of action sequences, a lot of big fights. But then it's also like, that's not really how computers are. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm a computer scientist. I'm not just like a Hollywood storyteller. Like James Cameron is not a computer scientist himself. Like he likes to think he's a specialist in a lot of things, and he's learned about lots of things, ships, robots, computer systems, but he himself has not worked in the computer industry. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of science in like writing and producing entertaining stories about robots and artificial intelligence and computer systems, and like trying to actually think about how those things work in the world, in like not just in entertainment sake, but like more like I sometimes talk about how I don't really do science fiction. I do stylized journalism with futuristic characteristics. So this is another way in which that applies. Because I mean, with Terminus Machina, I was like, I don't think we're going to get Skynet. You know, we're not going to get. You don't need an autonomous. Or we're probably not going to have an autonomous system that decides, becomes conscious, right? Skynet becomes conscious at, you know, X a.m. I can't remember exactly. You know, it changes, right? At 2:35 a.m. July 16th, you know, 2027, 2040, whatever, Skynet becomes conscious. The AI becomes conscious, and it, right, shortly after that, it decides to start, initiate nuclear launches that cause the Russian retaliation, and the whole world is destroyed in a nuclear apocalypse. And like, that is not, like in a lot of time, like that kind of thing is just assumed. Oh, well, the AI will simply just become evil. The robots will just try to kill us all, right? Or it's like you know, AI with by Steven Spielberg. Remember with let's see here, AI. Okay, I got too many windows open. The AI by Spielberg. You know, artificial intelligence, right, by Steven Spielberg, where there are these synthetic humans and they're like misunderstood, and then they have to, you know, try to you know, survive. It has Haley Joel Osment, and it has what's his face, that guy, Gigolo Joe. And like, and so in this one, or in iRobot, it's also similar, right? It's like the robots, you know, there's the HAL, or there's some kind of big machine mind that goes, you know, it determines that humanity has to be using like these rules of robotics that Asimov wrote up. It determines that humanity has to be protected from itself. Humanity must be prevented from harm, but it also must be followed, right? But the preceding rules will override all following rules. So the mother brain, you know, the basically the Skynet in iRobot decides it has to control and confine humanity to stop it from harming itself. And so there's some kind of, but long story short, so those are like interesting philosophical, science fictional, imaginative scenarios, right? But those were never, you know, if you actually understand how actual computers work today and like 10 years ago, and like what if you know what a large language model is, you really understand what that is. If you understand what cognitive like what they're actually doing in cognitive computing, none of that stuff is on the table at the present. I mean, someday maybe, but like that is what, of course, Sam Altman, that is what the AI $20 trillion plus Ponzi scheme pushers want to propel into your imagination. That it's the AI doomer. They say the AI, many correct people say the AI doomer and the AI booster, right, are basically two sides of the same coin. The important thing is to keep your mind caught in that narrative that this is Skynet. This is all the marbles, all of human existence relies on us just getting AI before China or some evil third party, something. We have AI, this large language model system that we have, ChatGPT, OpenAI systems. This is going to change everything, and nothing else matters but this, right? Either because something really bad would happen, we're going to have AI, we're going to have robot overlords, or we're going to have robot saviors. That's like literally the tagline of Neofeud and Terminus Machina, right? There were not robot saviors, and they're not robot. I think in Neofeud, we're not robot saviors, and they're not robot overlords, right? It just Neofeud is a little bit different, but it's like that's not actually that was never what was going to happen. That's not what is happening. And Terminus Machina is like, this is what, you know, is actually going to happen. You're going to have malfunctioning software, right? That a poorly programmed software that has a lot of processing power that's going to be used as a smokescreen to do terrible things, like subjugate humans, right? To surveil humans, obviously, deploy military forces against humans, like drone strikes, militarized robot policing. It's gonna all be broken and bad because all the competent people will lose their jobs, and all the good people will. Many of them will refuse to work at companies like Palantir for the U.S. Military and these kind of just really horrible corporations, which are under a capitalist imperial system running everything, right? Like the Palantirs, like the big techs, like the big Wall Street firms, like the Google, the Amazon, right? All these huge, military, police, intelligence, data, big tech complex, right? People are not going to want to work for them, but you're going to need humans to, right? That's the reason. Part of the reason why the AI is buggy. Silver Spook is the main character in Terminus Machina, right? Silver Spook is this. Speaking of robots, he's a human who is a former CIA spook, right? He's a former CIA, NSA, some kind of spook. He also had computer skills, programming skills, right? He used to program death machines, but he quit because of how absolutely immoral and how just abhorrent it is, right? So that's where the Silver Spook games comes from. It's actually from this character who defects from CyberSec, which is this privatized giant private-public partnership, U.S. military and Silicon Valley, Wall Street conglomerate, like just one of the huge firms. It's like a Palantir-like entity. And he quits and he works against them as a homeless socialist activist, revolutionary, jailbreaking iPhone 9 factory worker slaves out of for-profit prison. And their prison guards are like robots that are pointing guns at their heads, making humans, right, do physical labor. The robots making humans do physical, just grueling labor because that's just a little bit cheaper. And there's all these humans lying around, and they have all these machines, right? And so Silver Spook defects because the billionaire capitalist imperialists are pushing everyone out of their jobs. The robots are doing humans' jobs badly. So 90% of people lose their, doctor, lawyer. There's an AI doing the court system. There's an AI. It's called JusticeNet. I mean, Elon Musk just said we should have AI running the court system recently, as all of human case law is destroyed by huge abundance of AI, library of Babelification, basically mass infusions of fraudulent, hallucinated, just erroneous, lie-filled court documents, right? So like that was what I was talking about when I made Terminus Machina. Like I was talking about 2025. But now, of course, like nobody listens to me, so they're never gonna get rich at Wall Street, though. But I mean, that's what it was about. It's about like if you take these systems, one of the important lines in Terminus Machina is, you're talking to like a lawyer. You're watching a lawyer, a former a journalist or a lawyer. No, I think it's a journalist. He's having a conversation with a ChatGPT AI powered Palantir robot, basically, right? And the robot is saying, JusticeNet operates at 85 yottahertz. It's the computing power of our AI is greater than all the humans that have ever lived and died on Earth. The brain, in terms of teraflops, right? Like the total compute power of our brain, our AI, is like 1,000,000 times more than all humans that have ever existed. So because we have more compute power in this giant data complex, this is a philosophical argument being had between a journalist, an anti-AI journalist who is being threatened by a robot on the street, a robot police officer. And he says something like, the quality of the output, the intelligence of system is not defined by the total amount of RAM, ROM, hard drive space, right? Floating point operations per second, right? The compute power is not what makes a system intelligent or unintelligent, right? It's a poorly created program, right? Or an incorrectly designed poorly programmed, erroneously programmed system, poorly maintained system, right, that doesn't have techs that are maintaining it even, will cause the quote unquote intelligence of a system to degrade or to not function, right? So the intelligence of system is not simply how much power, but this is the lie that this is literally what we're seeing, right? What do we need? More NVIDIA chips for what? More compute, because more compute equals more intelligence, right? That means more cures for cancer. We're going to solve poverty and war. All problems of the world will be solved. I mean, like, this is the premises that are being made in Terminus Machina to the masses. You must put everything into AI. In this game, I put this game out in 2000. I wrote it in 2009 because I could see Elon Musk and Peter Thiel. They were already talking about this stuff, right, back in 2009. And it was like, if you don't, like, you have to give in to our decisions are the smartest because we have the most computing power. Our AI is smarter than any human and all the humans put together because we have the most computing power. But it's like, if you have if you have a calculator that when you type in 2 + 2 =, it gives you 5, right? You can take that calculator algorithm, right? And you can give it, turn every single piece of silicon, every single wafer, take every, 2, 1, and sub-nanometer semiconductor, right? You could take, or some sub-nanometer chip. You could take all the compute power in the entire Earth, right? And give it to that calculator. And all you're going to do is magnify the stupid, right? You're not going to get more intelligence. You're going to get more wrongness. You're going to get more unintelligence. And you're going to waste all your compute power, right? And you're going to have blackouts in America because you're going to waste all that power. And you're going to waste all that chips. And you're going to waste all that water that's going to be required, potable water that will be required to cool that giant computer systems, that huge data center, just to produce nothing of value. Because a calculator that tells you that 1 + 1 = 16, 2 - 2 = 5, and 1 × 6 = bunny rabbits is worthless, right? There is a vastly larger number of useless programs, right? Useless algorithms, useless Turing machine constellations or Turing machine types that you could create, right? There is a vastly larger number of useless programs than there are useful ones. And they can take vastly more compute power, you see? So that's what I was talking about with Terminus Machina. Shortly after that robot has a conversation with that journalist, the robot says, you don't have an accredited degree, right? So you can, right? You don't have an accredited degree from Singularity University. You aren't verified as sanctified by the AI to give qualified input. Your thoughts are meaningless because your brain doesn't have enough compute power. So that you see, that's the art. And shortly after that, the robot kills the journalist because now you're a criminal, right? Because you're violating cardinal laws. Like, you do not disagree with you are simply wrong because you don't have at your fingertips 65 quintillion data centers, right? You don't have like Grok, Jeff Bezos. You don't have that data center they're trying to build on the outskirts of New York City that will eat all its power or eat all the power equivalent to the country of India. Because you don't have access to that, you don't matter. Your input is irrelevant. That's basically what AI's boosters. Another thing they want to argue is that you, as a human, we don't need Wikipedia or we don't need humans producing knowledge because ChatGPT has it all. You're irrelevant. We don't need humans producing art because we have it all, right? It's all in these image and video generators. Hollywood doesn't need humans. We have it all. We've got Mark Hamill's performance in Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and Star Wars 4. We got it all. We don't need any humans acting, writing, making music, making art, making MegaMan. No more pencils need to be picked up. We've scraped every single Mega Buster, every Dr. Wily face, every quote, right? Every Terminator, every Terminator turned to the screen. Every time Arnold threw someone through a wall, We've got it all. We don't need any more humans. You're obsolete, right? You're done. And so, now, of course, that's what is being said. But of course, the systems keep getting worse, and the world keeps destroying itself in terminus machina, right? And there are human resistances trying to they use they're all the humans are programmers, and many of them are roboticists, right? They know how to hack the drones. So Silver Spook does. He actually hacks. He tries to dodge getting Hellfire missile blown up, getting shot by Hellfire missiles from Predator drones in San Francisco, and he's living in a cardboard box, hacking the robots to program them to fight against their own masters, right? And using using autonomous system. He takes the magnetron from the inside of a microwave, broken iPhones, and random bits of metal from rebar from blown up schools, blown up by AI powered drones that declared, think of how AI is currently deleting all people's channels on this platform all the time, just because somebody had somebody just held a microphone, and the AI moderator detected that as some kind of a weapon. I believe that's just one of these absolutely erroneous things that it's doing. And what is the solution, right? What are the billionaires and the big tech, plutocrats' solution, right? The CEO said, "Oh, what we'll do is we'll have more AI, fix the problems that the AI caused." So anyway, okay, so that's enough of that rant on that. So, but and so this idea that so what I'm trying to get is that that idea that the more compute, more processing power, more NVIDIA chips, right? That's good for, again, what is that? That's good for if you are selling chips. That's good if you want to pump a giant stock bubble, mega tech bubble 2.0 on top of a everything bubble. There's a tech bubble, there's student loans, you got there's even some housing, you got just general across the board corporation stocks bubble, bond bubble. And if you want to keep selling these chips as one of the biggest parts of that, no matter what they're doing, right? You want to tell people that more compute power means smarter output. That's not necessarily true. I mean, you need some chips, right? Look at everybody who's getting upset at NVIDIA, right? Or at the AI because they can't afford their basic RAM the RAM prices have been through the roof, so people can't even RAM prices go wild as AI companies buy every single chip, right? It's $619 for 32 gigabytes for $800. I mean, I remember computers used to cost $750, right? And now we're talking about just the RAM chips. So obviously this is going berserk, and it's really causing a lot of backlash, right? I just saw a bunch of articles that the AI backlash. Speaking of that, the AI backlash is off the charts as well, right? And I think I posted about that somewhere over here. I said the AI backlash. Wait, hold up, wait. Yeah, AI backlash keeps growing stronger as generative artificial intelligence tools proliferate. Pushback against the technology and its negative impacts will stronger. That's only going to increase, as it should. More people should join the fight. More people should join the fight of fictional good bots and humans fighting the real nasty humans that run these OpenAI and all these other companies. That's going to continue because obviously it doesn't seem like they're going to stop. I mean, the AI bubble is probably going to pop soon. We'll see what happens. I mean, they're going to try to prolong. If it pops, it could cause the everything mega ultra bubble to pop. So they might try to prolong it as long as possible. So it's hard to time this exactly. But what we can definitely say is that they're going to keep pushing it for as long. The ultra rich, the capitalist class, certainly the big techs, Elon Musk, etc. they are going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep pushing and pushing and boosting and hyping and scamming, pushing these articles, trying to put it into push Copilot on everyone in Microsoft. They're going to try to push, Gemini and these assistants into Google. They're going to push it into everything they possibly can. Nano Banana, I see is one of the things that they're trying to roll out. They're going to try to push this into everything they possibly can, for as long as they possibly can. They're going to put AI into your breakfast cereal, AI in your Rockstar. Merry Christmas! You open your box, it's like open your Christmas presents with AI, right? And it's just like you sprinkle like pictures of Sam Altman and Sundar Pichai on top of your Christmas present, and then you open it, and that's what the AI is. It's ridiculous. Like there's so some of it's really, really ridiculous. Some of it's not quite that obviously ridiculous, but they're gonna keep doing this. So anyways, okay, let's come back to this drawing contest. So yeah, we want to leave AI to the robots. MegaMan, TMNT. I don't know if I can show the TMNT video, but I'm talking a lot about retro games, so maybe we'll go back into that. But yeah, so Protege from Neofeud was definitely inspired by this art, but it took like human creativity. My point is that like the humans, whether that was MegaMan, whether that was Terminator, human creativity had to think through, and some people are saying, well, it's fair use. AI is fair use because our AI is just being inspired by other people's art. And like, see, humans do humans do have, this comes back to what is new, right? Humans do experience new things all the time, right? And what is new versus what is creative, new versus creativity, right? That's an important thing. The creativity that went into producing, like I said, right, MegaMan in the 80s could be new to somebody in 2025 if you never experienced it before. Like an 8-year-old who played MegaMan for the first time, oh my God, right? An 8-year-old who sees Star Wars for the first time in 2025. Star Wars, maybe they've never seen any Star Wars, and then they see a Star Wars, and they're being impacted by that for the first time, right? So Star Wars or MegaMan was created in the 80s, late 70s or 80s. It was new for me, right? Like I said, in 1986. MegaMan was new for me in 1987. Terminator was new for me in the 1980s too. I think I saw Terminator 1 a little too young. Kind of terrified me. When Arnold's face is like half peeling off, like, oh my gosh. That stuck with me. I remember him driving a giant truck and being like terrified. And the robot chasing Sarah Connor, and then as she's like trash compacting him, or like using that industrial press to crush the Terminator, like that like that's in the original Terminator, that was terrifying. I was like, I had nightmares about robot arms coming out of the press and like trying to grab me. This scene. That was all claymation, like animatronics as well. And like that took creativity to design that horror scene where this horrifying. It was really the original Terminator was really more horror than action movie. The second one, and then most of the later ones are more action movie. Salvation is more like a war movie almost. And so, but like it took creativity to put that together, right? And then the first time you experience that is very memorable, and it's new to you, but it's not. But it's going to be new to people who weren't alive in the 80s, right? And so the creativity is something that the people are putting into the work, right? The humans are like just another example. Like even Terminator was, I think there is I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, which is a pre-existing short story written by the author Harlan Ellison, a good while before Terminator. And like Harlan Ellison actually accused James Cameron of ripping off his story. He said, you owe me some money. I think they ended up paying out like $60,000 to him because it was very similar. Like there's a game called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, It was 67, and there's a point and click adventure game. Like Neofeud, it is a science fictional point and click adventure game. And it has a machine intelligence. This thing, there's so many games and movies about machines. Like, they are very interesting. It's very interesting philosophical stuff. If it's science fiction, almost always it has some kind of robot, some kind of synthetic, non-human creation that's also intelligent, right? But humans, Harlan Ellison, he also, like, Metropolis existed before this, right? There were talks about robots. Marvin Minsky and the artificial intelligence community, scientists were talking about. Isaac Asimov had written stories, right, and others had written stories. Before this story, right, and this one is one of the new things is that we have a lot of it has to do with the execution and, like, the particularities of the human, right? That is how well they execute it, right? Like, it begins with, like, there's the very first line, like, is like, no, what was it? Let me tell you how much let me tell you how much I've come to hate you. It's let's get that one. The AM, which is the artificial intelligent machine in I Have a Scream, says, "Let me tell you how much I've come to hate you since I began to live. There are 387.44 million miles of printed circuits in wafer-thin layers that fill my complex. If the word hate was engraved on each nanoangstrom of those hundreds of millions of miles, it would not equal 1 billionth of the hate I feel for humans at this micro instant. For you, hate." So, like, if Harlan Ellison hadn't, like, no, because it's a really interesting paragraph, right? If you just said, "Oh, it's ChatGPT, write my book," right? My book is called it's a book about how humans create this really smart machine and it hates them and it kills and tortures them. Like, because that's what people call writing now, right? Or creating art, is you prompt, right? And, like, I think I've might have explained this before, but, like, having just that concept, like, a lot of people have thought about what if machines attack people. Like, millions and billions of people have said or thought about that at some point before this. Having that idea, what if machines bad? What if machines kill people? Nobody is gonna pay, right, $20 for a book, or $15 or $30 for a game, right? That's just the sentence. What if machines bad? Right? So, but that's another mistake about creativity. A lot of people think that creativity is coming up with an idea, right? Like, there are thousands or millions of ideas that you come up with while you're working on a book or a painting or certainly a game or a movie. You know what I'm saying? How you put each one of those ideas together, how you execute, how you polish that, how you as an individual, your individual creative perspective, how that comes through your thousands and millions of individual ideas and idea bits, and actions that you take, the pencil marks that you leave, the Wacom tablets, paintbrush strokes you imprint and erase, right? The words you type out and then you delete, and you look up the synonyms, and then oh my God, this thesaurus is not helping me, and then you, like, go and, like, walk around and you scratch your head. There are millions or billions of individual like brain firings and muscle actions and experiences that you have in the world, right? That is what is and then millions or thousands or millions of, right, each one of those words in that paragraph. Harlan Ellison probably sat there and, like, stressed out over and, like, rewrote that sentence a whole bunch of times. I know William Gibson did in Neuromancer. That's why people read his books. Right? He's a good wordsmith. You might not like some of the kind of characters he writes or this, but he's good at putting words together. which is its own art, right? And so like that, like there was, hours and hours and hours probably spent. Maybe not on each. Sometimes it just comes out. Not always though. Sometimes it comes out and then, it's incomplete though. You got to come back and you got to refine it. Right? So the prompt, just having an idea is not the work, right? Like that is like thinking a thought, but nobody's going to actually sit there and experience somebody just thinking up thoughts. So that prompting is not going to be a job. It never was a job. It's not a useful skill in the world, right? Or just it's Google searching, because prompting is basically Google searching, but with theft. That's basically what it is, right? Right. Prompting an AI is type of Google searching is not a job. Okay, now like researching and then producing some kind of paper for a research project, or as a scientist producing like a solution to some kind of difficult problem, like how to make a 10 times more efficient solar panel, using a search engine and prompting the search engine to give you information so that you can do work. That's, you might prompt a search engine to work on art, right? You might prompt a search engine, like I just did that. I prompted Google like a whole bunch of times. I said, Google, give me MegaMan X. Google, show me Terminator 2D, the video game, right? That's not art. That's me typing in Google searches. Like those are thoughts, okay? And then I have to like take that and like, if I'm going to, now I'm going to like have millions and millions of other mini ideas and actions and, try to paint, right? And try to put this together, think about Terminator, think about MegaMan. And I'm going to go like, oh God, what am I, there's so many, when I was working on Protege, there was many designs and redesigns and it doesn't work. Oh my gosh, his face is wrong. Oh, it's too close. Fun fact, like this is actually one of the original Neofeud designs. It was actually created. It's not mine. This is created by somebody else, but he offered this as a possible game title for my game, and you can see it's animated there. His like that was his writing, his art process. He was much more skilled artist than me, but his name was Kyle Bryant. Here's another. This was another design for Protege. Like that guy there, that little the little kid there. That was another design for Protege. So somebody else actually suggested that. Like he actually sent that to me. I think at one time this might have been Protege. I think this was Protege, but I was like, this guy, I don't know. That's not gonna. He's gonna be a weird. I mean, because I wanted somebody to look kind of messed up and all junkied up. Like the plastic melted into his foot, and then he's got a unicycle leg. Because he doesn't have enough money to afford replacement parts. He's got that like a pinch clamp sticking a broken steering wheel bit and some some parts from an old Harley motorcycle. His eyes are blue screen to death, and I was like, but that's not quite what I want though. So I had to paint that. He was used elsewhere in Neofeud. But it took a lot of thought and redesign. I kind of want it to look like this. I kind of want it to look jumbled together. I don't want it to look too jumbled together. Like I don't want it to be completely random. So but I want him to be like, he wants to be like a b-baller. He wants to be like a pro basketball player, or maybe he wants to be like a rapper. So he's got the gold chain. He's got these like 1980s, 1990s. Those Air Jordans. This is right. So this is part of my ideas, right? And like I'm having this idea. I'm like looking these things up. Sometimes I'm Googling these things, and I'm like, what did Air Jordans look like? They kind of look like, he had the high, like those high top shoes, like, like the pump ones, right? The prompting it can be part of the is to like, the prompting is like when you like look at a tree, right? Prompting is like when a Renaissance artist like looks at an aristocratic lady and then starts painting, the shade of her eye is slightly off, right? But looking is, that you have to prompt your retina to get information in, like, countless times, and you have to also hone the skill of converting the information into your own through your neural circuitry, your meat computer, right, your brain, and you have to and then execute that through your muscles and your eye-hand coordination through your pencil, through your Wacom tablet, and that process, it can take a long, long time, and that's what the actual creative process. It's a little bit. What exactly creative process is even more complex than what I just said, but coming up with the prompt, just another example is typing in high top shoes pump is not. I didn't make the Reebok or Nike pump shoes that you're seeing, right? An AI, somebody who is a scamster or ignorant person or a charlatan will say, I am an artist because I typed in a prompt and I got a picture out. So I co-created this with AI and this is my art. It's like saying that it's like saying, oh, I created MegaMan. Look, I created MegaMan X. I co-created with Google MegaMan X. That's my picture. Give me money for it. Now, of course, this wouldn't work because that's a copyrighted. You didn't make MegaMan X. There are these artists, Hideo Tokoyama. I'm sorry, just like the Japanese members, X, and these people that worked at Capcom in that time in the 90s, they created it. You didn't create that. You didn't put, thousands and thousands of hours and back and forth between this whole team of people discussing how they would redesign. You didn't make MegaMan X. You just typed in, you took, you thought about something and you thought of the word and you typed it into a computer. That took you 10 seconds. It took them thousands, tens of thousands, huge amounts of hours and all this money for their office space too. You didn't make MegaMan X just because you prompted Google to give it to you. But you see but that's the people who will believe that, oh, I created that. Or that Google is creating. Google didn't create it either. Google didn't create MegaMan X. Google got information on the internet and added it to its databases. Right? ChatGPT didn't create 12th Night. ChatGPT didn't create Neuromancer. It scraped a bunch of books and threw it inside of its malfunctioning, broken, large model system that's improperly used, wasting electricity, water, and destroying all information, knowledge, and everything good in the world. It didn't create that text. The image generators didn't create anything, right? They're taking all the images and I think a lot of people probably understand this point, but I just want to kind of that's part of what the creative process. The creative process is. It is. I mean, so when you do fair use, when people, if somebody makes a commentary video, right? If I go and look right now, if I look for commentary, I just did a prompt. I just prompted Google. So that means that I own Terminator, right? I made Terminator. You see what I'm saying? Prompting is the first. Thinking and searching. Prompting is part of the searching and investigation part of the creative process, which is a part of the creative process. But it's it's 1% or 0.5% of the creative process, and then there's actually the production of your own own original work that is it's always interacting with it's always interacting with the rest of reality and the rest of human output in the world. But that's not the whole process, right? That's one of the deep lies of generative AI. Okay. If you look for commentary on Terminator, right? The Terminator commentary videos, yes, they rely on the fair use clause because it's like somebody used in sampling in music. I remember that was a thing where you would have hip hop remixes of songs that had little bits of other clips of other music. Vanilla Ice famously got into hot water legally when he used the Under Pressure bass line from David Bowie's song, and that's I think that's where a lot of this the court cases that kind of originated a lot of this fair use concept. It's not a hard line, but it's part of what's used so that people can make YouTube videos commenting on things like how many Pluribus videos, how many Terminator videos, how many videos on everything, right? when people are making commentary on the video. Now, if you just upload Terminator the movie, then you get in trouble. If you're like, here is my in-depth review from a queer leftist perspective on, you know, the meaning of the red pill in the Matrix, or, you know, my a hardcore Terminator aficionados, you know, serious 2-hour breakdown of all Terminator movies from best to worst or something, right? So you're gonna have like lots of images, but the content is there is some creativity and thought being put into, like, this is what I think about this, right? And the what people are watching that video for is not to see the Terminator movie, right? They want to hear what that person's thoughts are. That, you know, to write a review also would take some time and take some energy. Some of them are less creative than others, but I mean, you do have to at least process what you watched and then, you know, think about it and then produce some kind of you have to produce your own, right? Some people say, well, reviewing is not creativity, it's not making art. You know, arguably there's lots of YouTube videos that are reviews, but they're also art pieces in themselves, especially if you have like entire sets, people like dress up like their characters, you know, cosplaying itself is a kind of art in and of itself, right? So the people that are using that are commenting on other and reacting to other videos, right? A lot of you can do it in a very like cheap way. It's kind of like where exactly is the line? If you just say, hi, I don't like Terminator, and then you play the Terminator movie, okay, well, obviously you're just kind of like trying to use the Terminator movie itself to, I don't know, make some money. That sounds scammy, right? If somebody just like, oh, hi, I just I love Terminator, here's Terminator, and then try to get people to watch their channel rather than, I don't know, buy Terminator for $3 or something, then it's obviously, okay, that's not really fair use. It's not really there's not really a hard line with that, right? But it's kind of like, you know, where human creativity starts and ends. It is, you know, it's not a really definitive thing. But like, if you take a Xerox machine and you copy, right, every single page in the library book of Twelfth Night and put your name on it, and you go, here's 13th Night, and you just like change the title, right? Like between that and like writing a book of like, here there be zombies or something, and it's like, or Shakespeare with zombies, and then you have a lot of 12th Night text in it, but then there's like zombies in it or something. People do that. There's lots of books like that, right? Like Pride and Prejudice and zombies, right? Then like, you know, it's like if 90% of it is just 12th Night and you threw the word zombie, it's like, and at the very end of the book, you're like, and then everyone is eaten by zombies. Then it's like, okay, well, that you didn't really add much of anything, right? You did about as much as an AI prompting, fake AI, a non-AI artist, an AI theft. If you just put, and then all the characters are eaten by zombies, and everything is the same as 12th Night, it's not fair, because like what the value did you add to that, right? You didn't really add much of nothing, right? So anyway, so that's where it's kind of always like it's an interaction. So it's not a hard line in that sense, right? But like okay, so coming back to MegaMan. Let me just close some of this. I got too much stuff open. My computer going to die. It's already 1. I'm gonna try to wrap this up. Okay, so before, like, just to kind of come back to this, I'm probably gonna play some. I'll play some MegaMan just to celebrate. Leave AI to the robots. So the thing is, like, there are positive uses of artificial intelligence. Like before Gen AI, right? There were robots that were sweeping floors, like Roomba existed. That has a kind of artificial intelligence in it. There were robots that help make cars, right? Every Toyota, every GM truck you drive, maybe not all the American cars, because some of them are made with less high quality processes, but Toyotas and Hondas, and some of the trucks that take out your garbage. These are made using, right, industrial robots that bolt carburetors down and properly place with suction cups the windshield on your car in factories, right? Those have a artificial intelligence that's guiding their processes, to produce cars at a high efficiency, right? Like every video game has some kind of AI, right, to guide the NPCs in it. Whether you're playing Elden Ring or you're playing MegaMan, there's a kind of AI that guides, like the little just to get something else on the screen. When you're fighting Shadow Man, I was fighting Shadow Man. Like, man, that guy's hard, but it was actually easier now. I remember his patterns. When you fight MegaMan, Shadow Man, when you're fighting Shadow Man, he has a kind of intelligence. He's going to get his actual GIF. Like he hops around. He hops around and then he slides. Sometimes he turns towards you, right? He turns towards you. He throws two, 4-tipped ninja stars out, right? And each boss and each NPC has a different AI system, right? So like, and there's all kind of, it's not super complex, it's not super complex, but it is a kind of artificial intelligence that, like, if if player is left of character, like hop in that direction, like after X amount of hops, like hop randomly, like 10 feet or 20 pixels or 60 pixels, and then like slide randomly every 3 or 4 seconds. But there's a even on a Nintendo game, which is a Nintendo game, like it's a tiny amount of memory, right? The compute power is very low, but like the programming is actually have to be very tight, right? So actually like a lot of the code for 80s and 90s systems, games and otherwise, is extremely efficient, right? Because you had to fit everything in a very tight space. You have to make a small number of rules do a high level of work and a lot of quality with very little space. Modern programming can be very bad. That's why a lot of things break nowadays, like Windows systems. Like Microsoft just admitted like most of the core features of Windows 11 is broken. But part of it is actually paradoxically is like the more compute, the more space, memory, time processing power you have, the less effective, the lower quality of actual programming, right? Actual algorithms can suffer in quality because people are. It's kind of like creativity in a little bit, right? The constraints can actually increase the creativity rather than having more compute or having just more tools doesn't necessarily make you more creative, right? I can't use that pencil. I need like 65,000 different paintbrushes, and I need to have access to all these things. I mean, that's like the Big Eyes antagonist that's trying to steal his wife's work, right? Somebody said like, before generative AI, men simply stole their wife's writing and sold it off as their own, or their paintings, and that's really interesting. And definitely not false in many circumstances. Certainly in the case of the protagonist and antagonist of Big Eyes, but like having the limitations, right? Not having a pencil or not having the right art tools, right? Oh, I need to have, there's this accessibility thing is one of the arguments. So like, there's a lot of disabled people that are making art all the time, right? That's not what's the limiting factor. I don't have access to like a $10,000 computer system to do the kind of art that I need to do. These are all excuses, right? Ultimately, these are excuses, right? Again, this is why pick up that pencil, right? Pick up that pencil. Superman throwing a pencil at you, right? You got MegaMan, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles throwing a pencil at you, right? And the AI bros just getting madder and madder and madder. But it's actually the limitations is part of what produces the creativity, right? The limitations is also what produces the high quality code a lot of the time. Having more power can be helpful, but it can be, it's a double-edged sword. It can also be, it can be again, right? It's not really about the compute power. That's one of my points when in Terminus Machina, all right, which is that it's not as simple as more compute equals good, right? Just like more collectivity, not necessarily good. If the collectivity is all collectively a bad system, like we're all going to join the U.S. military, invade every country in the world, steal everyone's stuff, and just destroy everything, right? So AI is a lot like that. Well, we got more compute power, so there's more good. No, you can have more compute power and then waste it all, and pollute all of your rivers, right? You could damage the ecosystems. You could spend all your power, and then actual useful things, right? People's cities and houses are not going to get powered because you're giving it to a data center to do what? 2 + 2 = 5. Generate 7-finger shrimp Jesus, right? So more compute doesn't guarantee more good. More compute with quality programming software used appropriately, right? With humans that are consciously, actively working with those systems in various ways, right? Like, then having more compute power could produce good, but it's not a guarantee. It's not a guarantee that it's going to produce good. You could produce apocalyptic machine, right? Or a system, an ideological system, a mass craze, a mass hype bubble, a massive stock bubble based upon this mass propaganda that is going to start wrecking everything. So the more compute power isn't always good. It needs to have, it has to be used appropriately. So anyway, yeah. So so there is another point is that AI has been around for a long time. The AI in computer systems, whether that's the NPCs in Doom shooting back at you, whether that's the AI in industrial robots. There's also AI being used all over. Like in China, there's lots of these videos of and actual real case scenarios where you have the actual there's delivery bots, more efficient drones, more efficient ports. Whether those are expert systems using large language models or otherwise, a lot of times they're not using large language models. They're just, or they're using, some of them use large model systems, but they, if they're used appropriately, it can rapidly increase their productivity, decrease traffic times, help people get in-care health and housing work. There are actual useful in-house robots that are active around the world. Not a lot in the US because they're wasting it all on ChatGPT. They're wasting all their resources on these word salad generators, right? This Gen AI chatbot stuff, and it's not productive. It's not, right? Again, it's a misuse of the hardware and software, like I was saying. But if you use it properly, you can increase the food supply by 10, 100 times. Transportation gets a lot better. People have better health outcomes because you actually, like just another example. There is an artificial intelligence. It's kind of expert system that does. It's a pattern recognition system that does radiology. The automated radiology examination system, right? So that you can tell if you have cancer early, right? And actually, a lot of these systems, they're similar to. They're using a similar system to what ChatGPT is using, but it's being fed in, right? It's being trained on millions and billions of images of, right, MRI, X-ray, medical imaging of the insides of lungs, right, lung tissue, looking at tiny white specks and like kind of the patterns of pixels that appear to determine, right? It's like to determine based upon huge quantities of observation, the probability that a particular scan has an image of early stage cancer, right? And these have saved lives, right? So that's a kind of it's a large model system, right? It's a pattern. It's not necessarily pattern mimicry, but it's a pattern recognition system. It's not generating, right, fake radiology scans, but it's doing what the image generators and ChatGPT is doing on a very essential level, which is taking in vast quantities of data, and finding patterns in it to help humans to try to look at and try to figure out whether something is cancer early, right? It is like an image calculator, right? A calculator, if you want to figure out what is 265,000 times 485 fast, a computer can calculate that sum or calculate the product of big numbers really fast, right? People are using, right, and technically that's a kind of artificial intelligence, right? To do a calculation, right? People are using those all the time, right? If you work as a clerk at a store, if you're tallying up how much all your groceries cost, imagine if humans had to tally, because people did at one point, right? Humans had to compute how much 12 eggs and 6 rock stars and a MegaMan cartridge and two Terminator DVDs, or maybe one Terminator DVD, maybe 2 of them, One of them is you're buying Terminator 2D box set for Christmas. All those items in your shopping cart, digital or real world shopping cart, somebody had to tally up all those items before. And so computer intelligence, right, is rapidly summing that all up, and that is helpful to humans. Now, humans also shouldn't forget how to compute. If every human didn't study math, within a generation, everything could really fall apart, right? So you see how like so just the that's where like the now the difference with the Gen AI stuff is that it's going to impact like way more than just professional number crunchers, right? Because computers were actually humans at one point, right? People who would actually do computing. And a lot of them actually were women. The programmers of computers were actually, majority of them were women at one point. It kind of was later taken over by men under a patriarchal capitalist system. But when it became more cool and more prestigious for that. But so these new technologies, they do provide new opportunities, but they also have all these obviously massive drawbacks. If what humans do is like not preserved, if what humans are actually doing is misunderstood, and like if and it's not like humanity collectively is going to decide what it's going to do, right? Is humanity going to destroy itself? Like, are we going to produce terminus machina where just like all of humanity is destroyed, and a handful of people who don't even understand, a handful of billionaires destroy the earth by rolling out AI automated systems and getting rid of everyone, destroying basic societal feedback loops by making obsolete all the people that have to consume the products that keep the so-called economies going, basically, and just like, and respond to that with just basically letting people die and suffer and let human knowledge be destroyed? Are you just going to keep destroying human knowledge? Like, science is already being flooded with artificial AI fraud, biology, electronics and engineering articles. You're going to flood the legal system with AI generated hundreds and hundreds. There's over 600 documented AI generated court documents. You're going to destroy all of that. You're going to destroy like all of literature, all knowledge. You're going to destroy everything. Humans are going to have to, I mean, no one person is going to decide that, but we all are all going to collectively, arrive somewhere in the future, hopefully in a better place than others. And that's why we got to pick up the freaking pencil and, before let me just share. Here's a little bit AI, not AI generated art that I recently created for Neofeud 2. This animation took me like a whole bunch of time, and I recently completed it. So I just want to share it real fast. This one, at minimum, it took me multiple days. So this is one of the biggest ones. I was like, holy crap! I don't think I can keep up. This is it was a lot of frames. This is a very high res animation as well. So I was like, I can't have like this level of animation in every single interaction. But there's some key sequences that have like big. If you play Neofeud 1, there's some really big, high, intense, high resolution animations going on. So this is one of them. Anyway, so that's some Neofeud 2. It takes elbow grease and spitting skills to hack it as a silicon Neofeud 2. Neofeud 2, 100% more malfunctioning cyber arms than Neofeud 1. In Neofeud 1, there's a fix your arm puzzle, fix your broken arm puzzle. In Neofeud 2, we have the return of that as well. Here's one more. We got a new Neofeud 2 trailer. Neofeud 2 intro. I'm sorry, it's done. Here we go. Check this out. Oh, wait, where'd it go?
A red star is rising. If we don't control it, the sun may begin to set on our new galactic order.
We've got the firepower to handle those arachnoids and petty criminals. We rule under the barrel of an anti-matter gun.
I think we mistake our primordial enemy's restraint for weakness. Water and oxygen riots and flame as Les Miserables fill the streets. Perhaps we should use a caring hand rather than an iron fist.
Nonsense! You've got to keep the animals on a tight leash. Steel and organic, alien and human. More budget cuts and police batons will teach them a lesson.
We print the truth, same as we print money. The masses will keep calm and stick to the program, as long as we deal with the deprogrammers.
Our man, our personal Rambo, will light them up from the inside and turn the tide of war in our favor.
Yes. Once we activate the ultimate technology, all Silk Roads will lead to our Herbs Eterna, and it will all be over.
Truly, I grow tired of the pollution and wildfires of this world. Ragnarok and a clean slate might brighten my day. Can we, Daddy?
Soon, dear. I think we could all use a change of pace and greener pasture.
All right, so that's Neofeud 2 intro. I just finished that. It's done. So yeah, Neofeud 1 is on sale. I am the creator of that, both 1 and 2. The writing, the art, the music, and half the voice acting, and the programming also. So yeah, so do check out Neofeud 1 on Steam. And anyway, so I should probably wrap this up now. Just to give you a little more context at the very end. I know I didn't talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Also, just came out with an article with a 1 minute teaser trailer for their 7-minute video that will be part of the SpongeBob movie, before the SpongeBob movie, which is an anti-AI ad basically, which is great. Dr. Wily, you will need this. Let's see if I can get the So this is the original post. As a reminder, this is what the thumbnail for this video comes from the official MegaMan account. Yeah. As a reminder for those entering the MegaMan Dual Override Boss Design Art Contest, please remember the rules posted at this location. Entrants must follow this account, and please leave the AI to the robots. Generative AI is prohibited for this contest. So I said, right on, MegaMan. I was always right to love MegaMan back in the 80s. When I was 5, I knew this was. I was always right, the whole time. Based MegaMan, and the people working on this, anyways. So MegaMan is saying, pick up the pencil, Dr. Wily. Pick it up. Whenever you beat Dr. Wily, he's the big bad enemy of MegaMan. Try to control the world. He's a Sam Altman in the game. He's the Peter Thiel. He's the he's the big AI exec in the game. He when you beat him, he kneels down and he does this, "I'm not worthy. Oh, I'm sorry, MegaMan." And this one, MegaMan is saying, pick up the pencil. You've lost. Jet AI fraudsters, you have lost. Pick up the pencil. Do some real art. And literally, if you want to enter the MegaMan contest, you have to not use AI. So there you go. Also, here we go. One more. This is what I brought up. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't have time to talk about all this, but another 80s franchise, beloved franchise. As Disney bows to AI, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles take a stance against slop with a new TMNT short that has a very timely message. This was hilarious. It was really good. Last week, there's a deal between Disney, ChatGPT, and Sora licensed over 200 Disney-owned characters for AI-generated videos. As BBC reported, industry insiders are worried about what Disney's billion-dollar endorsement of art AI means for the future of Hollywood. It's the first major studio to make such a move. Yet, as Mickey Mouse seems content to accelerate AI's oncoming Judgment Day, another group of legacy characters are taking Katana pointed stand in opposition. So, it's funny because there's like they're walking down the street and it's like, what should I get Splinter for Christmas? And one of them's like, let's ask ChatGPT. Chat, what should I get? What does a rat dad want for Christmas? And ChatGPT is like laser hair removal, and it's like, oh come on, ChatGPT, you're useless. And somebody's like, it's only as good as its prompt. But then they look over, and then there's like there's a store that has tubular it's like totally tubular tortoise warriors or something. And there's like, it's like a total ripoff of them. It's got like flat-headed. It looks like the no-brain Wojak guy. For like, I forget, one of the turtles. One of them looks exactly like them, but it has the wrong number of fingers. The turtles have 3 fingers, but these have 5, right? Which is obviously a joke on Gen AI that usually gives people 6 or 7 or unknown numbers of fingers, right? And one of the hands goes from like this to, it like morphs really grossly into a thumbs up. So it's like a, so and the company that's producing this AI generated turtles ripoff is called what is it? Authentic Imitations Corporation from Newark, New Jersey. And then Leo is like, I never thought I'd be saying this, but we're going to Jersey. And so yeah, so so shout out to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as well. I think many at the studio are definitely not people that would be on the side of Gen AI, and it's good that studios are taking the stand. Another studio called Larian Studios, right, which puts out this game called actually I don't know, I forget what it's a new game, and they put out several others. I'm not up on all studios, but Larian is one that's been taking a lot of flack because they're talking about, either the studio or the defenders are saying everyone uses AI now, right? They're saying all game developers use AI. It's inevitable, so we're just using it too, right? And many people are like, no, not all AI studios. Not all AI studios are using it. Just as one example, Silver Spoon Games, we don't use AI. And you know who else doesn't use AI? Dispatch, which is like, Dispatch is one of the most Dispatch is one of the most beloved games this year. Silksong, Hollow Knight Silksong, right? One of the best. 3 people made a game and it sold millions and millions of copies. It was like one of the games of the year. Hollow Knight Silksong, they didn't use AI, right? And there's some of the most, Hollow Knight was being talked about by the AAA heads as being like, oh my gosh, this is changing the whole game. Was Silksong successful because the 3 Australian, was it Adelaide devs of Team Cherry, did they use AI to make one of the most successful games of the whole year? Everything that has AI in it seems to be doing worse and worse and worse, and people are like, partially because people are like disgusted by it, upset by it, and the quality is just bad as well. So when Larry came out and said, "Oh, everyone's doing AI," like this one's okay. And then he's been making thread upon thread. Some of the executives at the studio are talking about like, whoa, it's just a little AI. We're not, we got lots of human artists, and there's tons and tons of pushback. Somebody pointed out actually there's Vivaldi, which is another I think it's a browser creator. Their executive just came out and said, came in front of the camera and said, here is our plan for 20. There's like Vivaldi's plan for 2026. This is our company's plan for 2026. It's not AI, and then he goes off the camera. And like that's going to be more successful than some of these game studios and other companies' AI pitches, right? Just coming out and just being like, we are not going to use AI, right? Might be like the winning strategy, it's not might. It is going to be the winning strategy because using what we call Gen AI is participating in, is joining Dr. Wiley in destroying the world. You know what I'm saying? It is choosing the wrong side. It is choosing using what we're talking about, the Gen AI uses in the OpenAI, ChatGPT. This company is unfortunately trying to shove it in everything. Copilot is a direct misuse of large model systems. It's a misuse of software. It is a disgrace to great robots. Leave the AI to the robots. Leave AI to the robots that harvest vegetables and build cars better, help elderly and disabled people, wash dishes and clean clothes. Leave the AI to that. Make art yourself, right? We all thought we would be having robots cook and clean and do dishes while we wrote art and did poetry, right? Do art and do poetry and don't. And let the AI do. There are AIs that can do that kind of stuff. There's AI guided robots that can do that kind of stuff, and that's the way that they should be used. Leave AI to the NPC. Leave AI to Shadow Man and Magnet Man. The robots inside of the computer software called MegaMan. And other video games. Leave the AI to NPCs in the video games. Anyway, that's it. That's my stream. Thank you everybody for watching. This is Silverspook. If you want to help us out, you can help us out with direct support at ko-fi.com/Silverspook. Greatly appreciate that. I'm a programmer, a scientist, and also an artist in various ways. And so help us out to keep doing those things through Ko-fi. You can also help us out at patreon.com/Neofeud. Give us ongoing support here, as well as get access to behind the scenes of what we're working on, whether that's because I'm also a native Hawaiian here at the Silverspook Hui/cooperative. We're working on it's actually the younger spooks are also working on with me a new project set in the Neofeud world, Neofeud 2 world. We're doing building alternative indigenous anti-capitalist economic structures here in Hawaii like this, and obviously finishing up Neofeud 2. I'm currently done with all the music. I'm doing the final pass through the game, polishing and adding in all sound effects to the game, and then very soon it will be it'll be coming out soon. I gotta do some testing, but that's just a little update on that. Help us out at patreon.com/Neofeud. You can also get Neofeud on Steam right now. It's also on itch or Steam. It is a game I spent 2.5 years, blood, sweat, and tears, painting, writing, making music, animating this entire game. It's on Steam on sale for the low price of less than the price of just a handful, less than half the price of a month using that terrible Gen AI Torment Nexus software, ChatGPT or anything else. $4.49, you can get your very own Neofeud. And also, if you have a second to leave even a very short review, if you like Neofeud, don't forget to do that. It helps us get the game discovered in the Steam algorithm. You can also help us out grabbing Neofeud or other games on itch or Decolonators, Indigistar, Pigeon with Gun. We have multiple short story collections like the Neofeud short story collection and the Terminus Machina short story collection. Woman is a book by Holly that critiques right-wing Christian culture. And we also have the Silverspook Bandcamp, which we have various music on, including which I also composed, Neofeud 1 and 2 soundtrack. I'm sorry we don't have a Christmas present of Neofeud 2 being out. Apologize, but you can get the Neofeud 2 soundtrack for that special someone for the put it under the tree, or under your Steam library title heading, Neofeud 2 soundtrack is out. It is over 1 hour 15 minutes of music composed by myself, and and also you can follow us at Silverspook Games at wandering.shop. You can follow Shadow Man at Capcom. No, at Silverspook Games at wandering.shop. You can follow at Silverspook Games at Mastodon.social on Mastodon. Look for Silverspook all over the place, including Blue Sky, Twitter, and you can follow at those various places. You can also follow Holly at Allergic to Blue on Instagram and also on Twitter. Holly is of course a great moderator, sharing important information and working in various ways here at the Silverspook Cooperative. And so don't forget follow Holly also. And thanks a lot to all of our Patreon patrons. Without your support, it's hard to keep doing this work. So thank you so much to all of our ongoing, very gracious Patreon patrons. Thanks for stopping by, Aurora Terrorboard, and until next time, keep your Mega Buster polished. Be excellent to each other. Pick up that pencil, like MegaMan said, and we'll see you next.